development is a false hiatus. India's example should put the last nail on this coffin of those who are seeking an asymmetry between democracy and development. If we look at policy choices, models are developed, an institution designed over a long period. Trade, for instance, shows their sharply. India's share of 2.2% in 1948 to just 0.5% by 1990. During the same period, South Korea moved to become the 33rd largest, Taiwan from 28th place in 65 to 10th place in 1956. These economies, what did they do in technology and of course governance? In sharp contrast, what did Indian policymakers do? Given their mindset, they treated trade as something to be rationed, not expanded through enhanced competitiveness. The Asian tigers liberalized their economies early. South Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Singapore lacked large domestic markets unlike us. Import substitution exhausted itself very quickly. Survival required exports, foreign capital, and rapid integration with the global economy. China adopted the same policy from after 1978. We know that the agricultural reforms in China, along the lines which we understand, making a large availability of surplus agricultural labor into a production strategy at wage rates, which to say the least were exceedingly competitive. China grew between 78 to 89 at about 9.5% annually, enabling nearly 180 people to come out of extreme poverty. In 1980, India's foreign exchange reserves exceeded 7 billion. China's was just 2.55 billion. Yet, a decade later, India was at a default. China continued its upward trajectory. India's early strategy was shaped by history, by colonial exploitation, the urgency of nation building, weak domestic industry, and most importantly, fear of external interference. This fear shaped our industrial policy. Indeed, the industrial policy resolution of both 1948 and 1956 resulted in reservations of strategic sectors exclusively for state outcomes. This did deliver gains. Manufacturing sector to GDP went up from 17.5, significantly bigger than what it was earlier. India's import dependencies for capital goods fell. India missed the opportunity for efficiency and capacity. It was capacity without competitiveness. Protected markets, trained firms, and I say it with slight tongue-in-cheek, protected markets, trained firms to master files, not master markets. Entrepreneurs learned the art of licensing, first the barriers and then ease of overcoming the licensing regime, not innovation. The state, on the other hand, learned the wrong lessons of administering scarcity. The first issue, therefore, we must ponder is why did India pursue policies which did not replicate the growth patterns of the much earlier Asian tigers or even later China? Does the answer lie in what some economists, like my very good friend Arvind Pankaria, the chairman of the 16th Finance Commission, calls the Nehru model for development? This answers some questions, but not all questions. The lure of Fabian socialism took multiple
the experience that we have shared, and to ensure that we don't let go, sir, without releasing a souvenir which would be inaugurated for this occasion, I request the organizers to first give the souvenir, then the abstract, and all the members on the days would release first the souvenir, then the abstract for this 108th conference. kindly do the honors by releasing. Sir, there's also a request to release a book by the organizing secretary, which is Envisioning Telangana 2047, Journey Towards a USD 3 trillion economy by Professor Sudakar Reddy and Dr. Mallikarjuna Nayak Vadite. This book presents a long-term economic vision of Telangana, outlining pathways to achieve a $3 trillion economy 2047. It integrates innovation-driven growth, inclusive development, and sustainability, offering policy insights on governance, human capital infrastructure, and regional balance aligned with India's Vikasat Bharat vision. May I request Professor Arunachalam sir from IEA. The executive members in a moment. I request first Arunachalam sir to all the executive members of IEA also to come over to do a short felicitation to Professor Singh. Yes.
On behalf of Indian Economic Association, Professor Arunachalam will honor Shri M.K. Singh ji, our Chief Guest.
The EC members also will felicitate sir. We request our Honorable Vice Chancellor sir to give a memento as a token of gratitude to Professor Singh. Yeah, we'll continue with the flow of the program, and without much ado, I request senior seasoned finance teacher, who is the director of Institute of Public Enterprise, Professor S. Srinivas Professor, to give his director's note. Please.
Raja said, Endro Mahanubhavulu Andariki Vandanam. You have so many great people on the dais today, off the dais. So our respects to all these great people. At outset, I would like to association for coming out with this conference on a very important theme. I welcome Honorable Vice Chancellor Shri Professor Kumar Malgurangaru, Professor Dhananjay Singh, Member Secretary, Indian Council of Social Sciences, Shri N.K. Singh, Chairman 15th Finance Commission, President, Indian Economic Growth, New Delhi, Professor D.V. Varadarajan, Associate President, Indian Economic Association, Madam Dr. Shamika Ravi, Member, Economic Advisory Council to Prime Minister, Government of India, New Delhi, Professor D.K. Madan, Secretary, Indian Economic Association, Professor B. Sudakar Reddy, Local Organizing Secretary and Director, ICSR Southern Region, and distinguished invitees, favorite visitors, and all the participants. The Institute of Public Enterprise is pleased to associate with the Economics Department of Small University and also the Indian Economic Association in organizing this 108th annual conference. IB was started in the year 1964, mainly to help the public sector enterprises to meet their training, research and consultancy requirements. It is an ICSR funded institution thanks to Professor Dhananjay Singh Z, Member Secretary, for providing all support to the Institute of Public Enterprise. IP has now 6 full-time programs, PhD programs with student intake of total 1,100 on the campus. And IP considers helping other academic institutions as an important responsibility. We are talking about Viksit Bharat. India is the 4th largest economy now. It has to become 3rd largest economy by 2047. So IP, from its part as a ICSR funded institution, is doing academic social responsibility. We have signed MOUs with 50 government colleges, universities, private universities, and we are trying to help these institutions in upskilling the faculty members. We are conducting 3 faculty development programs in various government colleges, universities, in the areas where they require training for the faculty. When you talk about Viksit Bharat, we have to provide the skilled youth to the industry. Industry is looking for skilled youth, looking for the growth. It is the responsibility of the higher education institutions to provide the skilled youth. NEP 2020 talks about that only. So IP has trained more than 10,000 faculty members in the area of artificial intelligence and all the emerging areas free of cost. And we'd like to continue this journey so that India will successfully reach the target of Viksit Bharat 2047. We have been also conducting 3 student development programs to make the students study to occupy the positions in the industry. So all of us have to work together to make Viksit Bharat possible. At every stage, individuals, organizations, institutions have to work together. We are fortunate that we are in a time where a government has given us the vision 2047. It is very clear to us that we have to achieve that vision by 2047 when India completes 100 years. And every institution, every organization, every state has to work towards that. This particular conference is in that direction conducted, talks about the various areas through which we can reach the target. With these few words, once again, I welcome all the dignitaries and make the conference a success. Thank you.
Esteemed Dr. Sudakar, our Honorable Conference President and Member Economic Advisory Council to Prime Minister, Professor Kumar Boluga, Vice Chancellor of Osmania University, Professor Dulasi Radharajan, Association President, Indian Economic Association, our distinguished guest, Professor Dhananjay Singh, Member Secretary, Indian Council of Social Science Research, my friend Professor Sudakar Reddy, Local Organizing Secretary, and Professor Murthy, Director IPE, my friend Professor Ramaju, Deputy Local Organizing Secretary. I welcome to all the dignitaries of the dais and on the dais. My friends of Indian Economic Association, those who have come from around 27 states of India. I was just counting that one. I welcome to all of you from the heart of this Indian Economic Association. I am very much thankful to our esteemed Professor Charan Singh ji, Professor N.K. Taneja ji, Shri Ajay Seth ji, Professor V.N. Attri ji, my Professor T. Tirupati Rao ji, Chancellor of Manipur University, my all executive committee members from different states, especially our joint secretaries, Professor Sanju Karol, Professor Anurachalam, Dr. Anirban Sarkar, and EC members, Professor C. Muthuraja, Professor Harsh Gandhar from Chandigarh, Professor Rekha Acharya from
I welcome the dignitaries on the dais as well as off the dais, and also I invited you, the participants. You are more important, and this IAI is very much concerned about the scholars' growth. What is the speciality of this wing, IAA wing? We used to invite the policy makers, the topmost people, like Dr. Samika Ravi and Dr. Tananjan Singh and Singh, who gave you the lecture, very beautiful lecture, and all others. We invited the policy makers so that you can understand how far your research is on par with the policy makers' decision.
Role is, responsibility comes on the shoulders of the economics. This is my simple and this thing. So they have to put their efforts to, to contribute 60%, at least 60% towards reaching the goal of, Vikasit Bharat with 30 trillion this economy. So the economic performance in year now 25 to 27, based on the International Monetary Fund, the World Economic Outlook, what exactly identified top 5 countries. Already United States of America is in forefront, and the second one is China, and Germany is the third one. Now we are at the 4th place, and 5th place Japan. So simple this thing, by 2050, 3 years, above Vikasit Bharat, I am just, as per the IMF prediction, the first one is, the China will lead, in this particular economy, and the second place occupies India, crosses United States of America. So that is a great kind of, the strategic planning. The government of India is really putting their efforts maximum extent, right, by doing certain aspects. So why I am talking all these things means, India, if you look at the population, the highest population in the world, and the youth is the major strength and major resource, major productivity to the country, and less than 30 years, 60% of the youth is available, and at the same time, less than 25 years, the 50% of the youth is available. If you convert this youth towards the contribution of the productivity by imparting quality education and skill-based education, by offering internships, and by rigorously strengthening our education sector, definitely the productivity of the country in terms of exports, industrialization, and the commerce, business and trade definitely will improve. With the concept given, the concept of the Honorable Prime Minister, made in India, make in India, indigenous, India. So definitely by 2047, by accelerating all these things, we definitely reach the goal of Honorable Prime Minister, and at the same time, we can see the developed country instead of developing country. We are calling since the last 75 years. So in this regard, the economic leaders, the researchers, they have to play a key role and contribute, because this particular topic gives a lot many scope for the doing research, and at local level and at the same time the global level. Especially the Telangana state, now the youngest state in the country. Telangana state is youngest. Is the youngest state in the country. So the projected economy of the Telangana state, in line with the Vikasit Bharat 2047, is out of this 30 trillion, $1 trillion will contribute from the Telangana state. Telangana will be number 1 by 2047. Yeah, so the young potentiality we have to utilize maximum extent. The research scope is maximum extent in the economics, because the economics area 60% will contribute in 2047. And at the same time, some of the topics just I googled, because of I have a habit of googling and AI. So based on that, I want to give a few things to you. So the behavioral economics in policy is one of the important aspects. Behavioral economics in the policy, the psychology and economics. So both the things you have to use, and you have to take the topics like the tax compliance and savings behavior and health, the health related aspect, health choice, and at the same time the other energy considerations, etc., are the four core areas under the behavioral economics. One should focus on the behavioral economics and the policies, because the psychology of the human being is going to play a vital role in the projections. And at the same time, A and big data and big data economics, economic analysis. In this one, the real time big data. Now we have to focus on forecasting the future, what you call inflation tracking and future consumer attitude, etc., and even supply chain resilience, etc., is possible with the artificial intelligence and big data analytics. This is also one of the scope area. The third one is the digital currency and fintech. This is also another upcoming area. The student should focus on this. Lot of scope is there. So the third one is the green and sustainable economics. This is another upcoming area. So the economic models now we have to focus on climate risk and carbon printing. At the same time, circular economy also one of the another upcoming area in this green and sustainable economics. And next one is the inequality and inclusive growth models. This is very, very important, because one should take up this area in a serious manner, because the wealth should be distributed to all, that should reach to the all non-reachable places. This is one of the important aspect. And at the same time, the gender economics also one of the important aspect. The government of India is giving lot of funding towards gender equality and gender economics. And universal basic income, UBI also one of the another area. The social mobility is also another area under this inequality and inclusive growth models. The another area is development economics 2.0. So like the Robo 2.0 and all 2.0, even movies also coming. The economic new chapter is 2.0. One should focus. And globalization and reimagined is another area. Health and pandemic economics also another area, because due to pandemic, the economic levels totally fluctuated worldwide. So one should focus if something happens. Uncertainty is another kind of area. Therefore, the health and pandemic thing also one of the important aspect. So finally, the 10th one is the policy coordination. Microeconomics is another upcoming area. In this one, the gig economy is upcoming area. One should focus as a excellent research area in the economics. So with this, I request all the scholars, those who are attending here, and eminent delegates from different countries, you please focus on these areas. Definitely, the India will become, the developed country, and with the help of, all these, the economic inputs given by the experts in the country and even outside country, who dedicatively work 24/7 to become our dream realized. Our dream, Honorable Prime Minister and all the honorable ministers of the country and chief ministers, the India definitely will achieve 2047 Vikasit Bharat. Only thing is the 24/7, different ways, diversified ways. You have to focus on research, and this dream will come true. So with this, I compliment the organizers for taking up this excellent program, bringing this conference to the Usmania city. It's a great and proud privilege to the Usmania city. And nowadays, in the Usmania University, many programs are conducting since the last 14 months. Pin drop silence, and all our students and faculty focusing on academic side and excellent education ecosystem we created. And coming next year also 2026 we are planning around 10 international conferences on different themes. And this month December we conducted 5 national and international program, and this is one of the excellent program. Really I congratulate Professor Sudakar Reddy, and also I thank all the top personalities from the country who really shared their excellent inputs for the sake of audience. I hope the audience should take all these inputs and put your best efforts to become our country the Vikasit Bharat. Thank you one and all for your kind attention.
They say that economics is the mother of social sciences, and it gets into all domains, and we had our expert from civil engineering, giving a host of research topics for the scholars for the future and his emphasis on demographic dividends. Now, with the most awaited thing, may I request the president of the session, Dr. Shamika Ravi, to deliver our inaugural address.
How many bottles of water have you had till now? I'm on 4. Also, it's because we are from Delhi and this is all wonderfully nice and warm. It's a good change. I start by thanking the IEA for inviting me to preside over the conference again this year. On behalf of the IEA, I also express our gratitude to the host organization for putting up such a great show. I welcome all the delegates. My job really is a very simple one. I'm here to show you a snapshot, as I did last year. I show you a snapshot of what research can accomplish. You know, we are aiming for Viksit Bharat, but it has to be one built on reason and by evidence, which is scientific. Otherwise, in the back old days, a lot of policy making was happening based on anecdotes. I feel this should happen, or this has been my personal experience, or many people, elites in particular, educated, when they travel the world, they saw something, they wanted to do it here. Policy making now is no longer of that nature. Policy making increasingly is becoming much more evidence-based. Now, what exactly does that mean? All of you are familiar with this term, no? Evidence-based policy making. On an occasion, of course, it is policy-based evidence making, which is a big problem. But today, can I have a clicker? How do I proceed? Somebody's there? Yeah. Just go to the next one. I'm going to tell you 4 short, quick stories based on the data. Okay? First, I'm going to present to you, and this is all our own research, because this is public data. Any of you who's interested in any of these topics should feel free to download the data and run these analyses. These are all published work, so it is easy for you. If you do get interested, I'm happy to share the codes, etc. All right? So this is an open encouragement. First, we are going to talk about poverty. Go back, please. Then we are going to talk about, there are some structural problems that we are dealing with in India, which is not like many other countries. Particularly from the labor market perspective, we will talk about that. Third is, how is growth distributed? And here I'm going to introduce to you new kinds of data. Today, you know, we have more data than ever. Today, the problem is not of not having data. Today, the problem is we don't have enough data scientists. Because data is crude oil. What are you going to do with crude oil? Nothing. You need to process it. Who will process this kind of data? It's the data scientists, the economists, because you are uniquely trained in econometrics. Right? So I'm going to present to you some new kinds of data, which is satellite data. Satellite data, now imagine, no survey, so it's not dependent on your mood, how you respond. This is satellite imagery. How much is actually getting built? What is the height of the building? What is the frequency with which movement is happening? 10 meter into 10 meter. Can you imagine the high resolution? ISRO has the wherewithal to give us this kind of data. So now when we are saying we are going to urbanize in a planned manner, you can imagine spatial data, how important it's going to be. And the fourth story I'm going to talk to you, which is it's a very interesting,
Truly data-driven kind of reasoning. And when we mindlessly see students pursuing one master course of the other without improving their skills, I think she has nailed it by saying about whether the educated are more employed or the uneducated. Thank you so much, ma'am, for spending your time and sharing your wealth of knowledge with us. Truly, we are blessed to listen to all your insights there. And as we come to the end of all the speeches there, we have some more book releases to be done. Thank you for being a wonderful audience and bearing with us for this wonderful thing there. I won't call it bearing, I think it's more about learning and adding value to ourselves. May I request the dignitaries on the dais to release some more books that are there. The second book, first we've already released there. The second one is on urban planning and economic development in India, Vision for 2050, by Professor Sudakar Reddy and Dr. Mallikarjun Nayak. If the other author also is there, to come over, the author as well. The book examines the interlinkages between urban planning and economic growth in India. It highlights challenges of urbanization, infrastructure, housing, and governance, and proposes a strategic framework for sustainable, inclusive, and resilient cities to support India's long-term development goals up to 2050. Yeah, this is Mallikarjun here. The other author with Professor B. Sudakar Reddy. Organizers, get ready for the third book. The book is The New Era of Global Trade, Tariff Wars, Geopolitics, and India's Strategic Response. This book as well is by Professor B. Sudakar Reddy and Dr. Mallikarjun Nayak. Now, this book analyzes contemporary shifts in global trade marked by tariff wars and geopolitical tensions. It evaluates their implications for India's economy and outlines strategic policy responses to strengthen trade resilience, enhance competitiveness, and position India effectively within evolving global value chains. Yeah, come then. Yeah, that would be a great privilege to stand next to Shamika ma'am. Very quickly on the fourth book. The book is on sustainable power, sustainable progress, renewable energy, and economic change in Telangana. The authors of this book are Dr. Govardhan Reddy Lankala and Dr. Mallikarjun Nayak. If Dr. Govardhan Reddy Lankala is there, kindly come over to the dais. The other author? Yeah. This book is something which explores Telangana's renewable energy transition and its economic implications. It assesses policy initiatives, investment trends, and employment potential, highlighting how clean energy can drive sustainable growth, reduce environmental stress, and support climate resilient development at the state level. Okay, we did have quite many books, and the last book for the day, ma'am did speak about empowerment of women there. So this book is on status of women entrepreneurs in India with special reference to Telangana state, and this is written by and authored by Dr. Ramesh Tejawat. Dr. Ramesh Tejawat, if you're there, be here. Yeah, this book provides an empirical assessment of women entrepreneurship in India with focused analysis of Telangana. It examines access to finance, market skills, and institutional support, and offers policy recommendations to strengthen women-led enterprises as drivers of inclusive and sustainable economic growth. Congratulations to all the authors, and great thanks to all the members on the day with your patience with which you have done the book release. Memorable even for sure. Felicitation of all our dignitaries on the days. To begin with, first we do it to Ma'am Shamika Nayak ma'am. May I request Kamaljeet Kaur ma'am and Harsh to join the felicitation party here. First to Shamika ma'am. May I request Anirban Sarkar sir and Sanjeev Kumar sir to come over, please. Shamila, we pray that you don't miss out the flight there. Safe travels. Vice Chancellor. Yeah. This brings us to a magnificent inaugural to a close to invite Professor M. Ramdu sir, Deputy Local Organizing Secretary, to propose the formal vote of thanks.
In all of you, this is the last event of the inaugural function. Afterwards, dinner discussion is there. Respected Kumar Goyal sir, Honorable Vice sir, respected Shamika Ravi ma'am, Dhananjay Singh sir, and NK Singh, Zulasi Brinda Radharajan, DK Madan sir, and Srinivasamurthy, Sudakar Reddy sir, and paper former exams in the toughest time. Then DeptOU sir, G. Ramakrishna sir, and Reddy sir, Shiva Reddy sir, other economists and paper writers and plenary session talkers and speakers over us. It is a pleasure to me extend my vote of thanks to Economics and IEA. Generally, our Honorable Vice Chancellor expressed my side and department sides are well. Thanks and congratulations to you, sir. Actually, your guideline and visionary leadership as well as committed hard work and support of our department we succeed all aspects, sir. Particularly, you were your engineering graduate, but all covered academic side means engineering and academics are very close relation. That's showing that, sir, definitely, sir, your footwork will travel, sir. And respected Shamika Ravi member, in your sites, your presence of this conference, presence, madam, you are really touched so many things, really, you talk changes our young minds to think the new process like. Your good side, God, madam, our young minds definitely, they got very rich data and that also you are also analyzing the data is really, madam, it's a wonderful talk, madam, really our people are enjoying a lot in the good evening. Former NK chairman, 15th Finance Committee chairman, you talked about all angles of the economic side and in the inaugural ceremony. Really, we are really thankful to you, sir. As Professor Dhananjay Singh, Member Secretary ICSR, really your talk also, even your literature side, but you are touching all the economic lines, including the literature aspect. Thank you very much, sir. As well as DK Madan sir, really and 6 to 3 days I am observing that Madan sir, he is observing every key of everything point, nook and corner. Every point really, we learn from you, sir. You are taking how much care the young generation should learn from you, sir. Really excellent support to our organizing all aspects of it. One of the important Srinivasamurthy sir also, I am very much thankful to sir. Not only your insightful talk, other logistic support, sir. Without your support, this much of the success of this program may not be possible. That's why we are very much thankful to you, sir. That our logistics future also we are hoping that we are extending the same logistics support our future conference, sir. And further, more main important, my beloved friend Sudakar Reddy, without his take care of all these things, it may not be possible to success. Really very much thankful to you from IEA as well as the department side. We hope that future also same type of conferences will bring it out. Definitely with all people do very successfully, that I am hoping that. Now one more important, that means our beloved former Vice Chancellor DeptOU sir and Mahendra Reddy sir, Shiva Reddy sir, Ramakrishna sir, all the eminent personalities sir, since beginning, they are interested, keenly observing that, sir. Very much thankful to you, sir. Your presence makes the difference of these conferences. In future also, we are hoping that you are supporting us. And Lord, I can further extend the last, my all paper writers, all delegates, all the students, and all volunteers who are effortlessly, tirelessly doing the effort for success of this conference. Definitely, sir, their effort and contribution will be recorded in the department, sir. Definitely they are doing wonderful job since 3 days, 4 days, 1 week. That means I am very much thankful to the department. As well as I am hoping that in the next also, afterwards also, plenary sessions are there. Definitely, as along with the dinner, that also important, great dinner also available sir, after the plenary session. I am hoping that all should come there and participate and enjoy your evening time with getting some more knowledge. Once again, I am thankful to you one and all. Good day, good evening. Thank you very much.